Are your guests leaving you? That's the question. Welcome to Break Room Conversations. We got the whole gang here, and we are here to talk to you about the secret sauce of guest retention and how to keep your guests from not leaving you and to keep coming back. So welcome everybody. And really, this is always a hot topic of guest retention. And for me, we're going to go through some different steps that we have throughout their whole experience. But always put yourself in the guest's shoes. Pretend you're the consumer going in to a salon, which are very intimidating, maybe a higher end boutique. It's all about first impression. First impression is everything. So as soon as they open that door, what are they experiencing? And, are you giving them a warm welcome? Even if it's not your client, are you telling them hello? If you're working behind the desk, that desk is a very powerful magnet. I'm pretty sure they put magnets in there and on us because we can't get away from it. But are you going around there and telling them hello? So for you guys, as Tatum and Alberto as stylists, it's typical. It's not as typical that you're in front of the house, by the desk. But what are your experiences with guests just from the start, when they're coming into the salon? What's worked well for you?
I think, one of the important things is to make the whole experience solely about them. I think very little, they want to get to know you, but I've always just kept asking questions about themselves. One of the best practices that we had at Van Michael was that we would actually do small little notes on our note cards of like, has 3 kids, or dog name is whatever, and it's those little things that when you ask, oh, how's Susan doing? It just it makes such a world of difference, or I can't believe that you remember that. And then the experience just becomes even more beyond just technically executing an amazing haircut and color. So really making it about them. I don't really think they want to hear about your drunken Saturday night at coming home at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? Unless they ask.
My notes for Alberto would be Thursday is Alberto's leg day, and then I can always reference it.
That's what I would be like. I'd be like, well, today's Friday, it's chest day, so.
And I remember a stylist was once telling me, and now he's, his haircuts now cost well over $100. And when he was first starting out as a stylist, he would kind of be the door guy at the salon just to get to know clients. The clients were familiar with him. And he even swept around the door. He opened the door for people. He would walk people out if it was raining with their umbrella. It was just the little things that made it special. Salons are very, very, very intimidating because we're not only, it's a vulnerable place for people. So the more that we can make them feel comfortable from the beginning, the better. And Alberto, I love those note card ideas because that's something that even at the front desk can even do, oh my gosh, Miss Mary, how was your daughter's recital, last time? Or how was your beach trip? And they just get people's faces are like, oh my God, they feel so special because we're kind of celebrities, when it comes to that. So really first impression is everything. How are they feeling when they come in? And then when you're going into the service, and this is where I'm going to need y'all's help, is it also starts with the consultation, which, I think we touch on consultation probably every single break room conversation, but it's super important.
It is super important. I mean, it's the start of everything. And, people often sort of do well in the first time. And sometimes it's that second and third visit is where the client falls off. So taking notes is a great way to, stay consistent between the first and second visit. And, they really don't expect you to remember everything, but when you do, it's great. I took notes through SalonBiz, and if you don't have SalonBiz, maybe there's another scheduling app or something you can take notes. And I would put things right in their formula tab. I noticed that when the colorist would get travelers, it had their color formula. So I started to put in my formula tab things like, use scissor long layer. So I knew what haircut they were, what hair color they have too. So I know if I walk into a group of people, I know that my client has blonde hair or black hair or purple hair or whatever. So I know how to find them without being like, oh, I don't know who this person is again. So taking some key notes about who they are, what they look like, the technical aspects of what I did, the products we use, so I can confirm, hey, we tried the new Nutriplenish. How did it go? I really want to have as much information on there as possible. And I just use SalonBiz or whatever software you have to put those notes in there, so you're not having to carry around physical note cards with your client. And I've asked clients just sort of, or they've asked me, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm just taking notes on your service. And, is that normal for you? And most people think that it's normal for you to take notes. They expect it, and they're surprised that so few people do. So definitely taking notes, remember those conversations, all the technical things, super vital. And then with new people on top of that, I like to know their routine. If you have someone who lets their hair air dry naturally and you give them a cut or style that needs a flat iron, it's not going to work out for them. It doesn't matter how good the cut or color is. If they can't execute the style at home because you've done something that's off of their routine, they're going to be dissatisfied. So how can I know what they're doing, how they're doing it, recommend the right products and services for their routine already, so they don't have to change anything, and then keeping the notes and executing every time? That's really the way to get it started. And then I think there's one last thing at the end to sort of solidify the next visit. Does anyone want to cover that?
Yeah, Alberto, I think this is your specialty with solidifying it with the pre-booking and the products that are needed too, really.
Well, yeah, pre-booking, because it ensures, first of all, future availability with you, for them to get in, and it keeps everything just looking nice and fresh. And that is another level of service to the guest of offering that pre-booking option. Because I think when guests really get dissatisfied is when you don't really care whether or not you're going to see them again next time, and just be like, all right, just call me when you're ready, and then you have no availability. You really didn't do anything to help them.
Yeah, and pre-booking, it's such an important factor. And I'm saying this because I'm growing out my hair, and it's important that your guest is aware of when they need to come back to ensure that they're getting the look that they're achieving. So if you have a guest that's coming in and they're constantly unhappy when they come see you, that's not good. And there's only so many times that they're going to be unhappy, and then they're going to leave. And we could have definitely avoided that if we were like, look, Stephanie, you need to come in a week early. If you come in a week, and Tatum used to do this to me all the time. If you come in a week early, you are going to love your hair, and you're going to be so happy with it. So that way they're on a good, they have a good mindset, and it's still keeping them happy even when they're outside of the salon. So the pre-booking is huge. And, going through the steps, so we talked about first impressions, we talked about consultation and the goodbye with pre-booking and recommending what they need, and really putting the guest first. It's about the guest, it's not about us. And it is about that goodbye. How are you saying goodbye to your guests? Some people are just like letting them walk out the door, but it's like, are you bringing them up to the front and having that good heartfelt, like, thank you so much, because they're taking time out of their day and money out of their wallet to come see you. So what are we doing to bring any extra value we possibly can? Because we have a lot of competitors out there that are really zoning in on the rituals that we do and all the value added services that we do. So clearly we've been doing something right if other people are, copying.
And those are there for a reason, because it's all about experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more, again, I'm going to say it again, it's more than just executing an amazing haircut and color, right? If the experience isn't there, they feel like you don't care, they're not going to care.
Yeah, because the reality is, unless you really screw up, they can't kind of tell the difference. Like I'm a haircutter. We spend a lot of time on the back of the head. They never see the back of their head, right? So a lot of what they're seeing is sort of basic understanding. Did you capture the vibe of the picture? Do I feel like I'm in my own hair? Am I in my same routine? Do I feel pretty? That's kind of their expectation of the service, technically. But what they're also expecting is the experience behind the chair. So how do you show up behind the chair? Not everyone's the same, and each one of you are individuals, but being consistent with that level of service. If you are a little bit more quiet, you're going to develop a clientele over time that's going to be a little bit more quiet. If you're more talkative, you're going to develop a clientele that wants to talk more. Just make sure that whether you talk less or talk more, that it's focused on the client. If you are talking too much about yourself, you're probably going to be a dissatisfier to your clients. And if you don't know how your conversations are going with your client, ask your coworker, because they hear everything you say, and they'll tell you exactly how you are with your clients. And check yourself, do you need to sort of change a little bit? Do you need to check in with them more? Having those notes and talking to them, not just about their hair, but did they go on vacation? How was your vacation? How's your kid doing? How's your mom doing? Try to incorporate more conversations around them and a little less about you, and you're going to have a lot more of a happy clientele. And we're going to get to you anyway, but just make sure that we're talking about them first and trying to always direct it to them and what their needs are. And that really is going to help seal a deal and make the overall service experience excellent and unique to you as an individual.
I love it. So I think we can conclude here, and everyone's homework is tomorrow, or even starting now. When you walk into the salon tomorrow, walk in with fresh eyes and think about the guest experience. So, and every guest is your guest too. So think about everyone's experience. All right, guys, is there anything else?
Another great one in the chapter of Break Room Conversations.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining, and we will see you next week. Bye, you guys.